a glance, she's over me. She's over me. That was just me chewing gum, ladies and gentlemen. No, it wasn't really. I am chewing gum, though. But welcome, everybody, from points all across this magnificent globe. Or on the plate if you're a flat earther. Welcome, all of you, to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and this is our adventure into the unknown, the supernatural, the unmapped, the uncharted regions of our reality. So, we're glad you're here, as always, and by we, I don't mean just me, and it is my great pleasure to reintroduce to you all the Big Toe himself, my co-host, good friend, and present in the Paranormal Portal studio, Mr. Don Longbeard.
Present in the portal?
Present in the portal, Don.
Here, here.
You are presently in the portal.
Here, here. There.
Absolutely. Welcome to the show.
So terribly sorry. Hi, Titan. How the heck are you, Titan?
Good to see you guys. Those of you that are here, and hello, a special hello to you early arrivers. Someday we should give out like stickers to the people that arrive in the first 5 minutes.
That's still a hell of a lot of stickers.
I know, it'd be a lot of stickers, but it'd be like the incentive. Mark your calendars. Oh, well. What's up, PPS, Paranormal Portal Squad? Hi, everyone. J-Rock says, how you doing, J-Rock? Good to see you. Tracy Gale's here. Cold Stairs is here. Titan's here. Richard Elmore, Sissy. Lawson. I'm just nailing the names as they come up.
Jennifer.
Thank you, yeah.
Rachel got it right again.
Barry is here. Rachel always gets it right.
Tracy's here. Cosmic Flare.
Bernaise sauce is here.
Bernaise sauce. That's the
I love your sauce. That's such good stuff. All right. That sounded terrible, didn't it?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, we're off to a banner start here. It's not my fault. He picked the name. Oh, my God. But anyway, Yowie Hunter's Witness Audio Reports.
Hi. Dean's here.
Good to see you. Welcome to the show, everybody, and I hope you're having a phenomenal week as we progress towards our weekend, the weekend, which I think is what most of us live for, right, Don?
The weekend?
Yeah. Most of us.
Like a Loverboy song?
Oh, dear
Working
God.
for the weekend?
Oh,
Sorry.
No.
What? You don't want me to break out into that song?
No.
Oh, my God.
No.
All right, fine.
I don't.
How about something from the Bay City Rollers?
How about we just move into the show?
I think our Australian friends would like that.
Oh, what the hell? You just dished our whole Australian audience. They're gonna come over here chucking Fosters. Sorry about that.
Maybe up chucking Fosters.
No, because Foster's is not Australian for beer.
Apparently, it's not even Australian.
Oh, really?
Well, they deny it's Australian.
I don't know. I've never tried this stuff, but it apparently
what
comes.
happened?
I don't know, dude. You're exploding over there.
Oh,
but
wow.
Anyways, we got the phone lines open for all of y'all, and if you want to call in and be a part of the show, you're welcome to. You can call in by dialing 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. Those are the numbers for fun. It's good to see Dean here. It's great to see it turn up. Good to see you, Dean.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been a long time. We got to get you back, brother.
Titan says I should sing a bass.
No, you should not. Titan, I'm gonna
not encourage him.
I'm gonna time you out, Titan, if you keep typing like that. I'm just saying. That is not allowed. But we got a lot to go through tonight. We got some really cool things and a whole bunch of weird things. And, it's the Paranormal Portal, so this is our wheelhouse. This is what we do. If there's something strange, in your neighborhood, call Paranormal Portal.
That's Buzzachino. Yep.
Buzzachino's here. I just saw the orange name. Helps me to zoom in on those. If you want to get my attention, that's the best way to do it. Just do the at Paranormal Portal. But I don't know. I think that's all the front end of everything done. You all ready?
Yeah, I'd rather stay on the front end though. I don't want to be on the back end. Please don't make me be on the back end again.
Don doesn't want to be the big spoon. All right, good night, everybody. That's it. That wraps it up for the show. We're all done.
Oh, you're killing me.
All right, we're going to get into this now. Hang on to your seats. It's about to get spooky.
Is that what they say now?
It's already spooky. Jesus. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, and we are getting underway. Let me put up the actual screen. Yeah, way to go. You'd swear I worked here or something. Yowie Hunters, Dean says, sent you a couple unexplained via PM, Brent. Oh, let me take a peek at that and see what came in. Oh, here we go. Oh, my God. Wow. Let's, oh, Jesus. Yeah, these are great. Do you mind if I show them, Dean? Can I put him up on screen? Let me know what he says. I can't see.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Wow. Those are some great shots. I hope we can, because that's pretty cool stuff. Obviously, some thermal captures.
He says, go ahead.
Go ahead. He said.
Go ahead, mate. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Let's put them up on the screen, folks. These are, in case any of you aren't exactly clear, Dean Harrison is the founder of Australian Yowie Research. He's been on the show a couple times. We had a great discussion, but he is the premier Yowie researcher, he and his group, in Australia. And if you don't know what a Yowie is, that's the Australian version of Bigfoot, essentially. I guess that's the best way to put it in a nutshell. But they recently made international news with some incredible thermal footage that they captured while out on expedition. And it's pretty intense. These are a couple other captures that I gotta tell you, well, let me just put them up on the screen. Obviously, this is a thermal capture, folks, but what we're seeing here, I'm assuming those are eyes, but they seem to be projecting that much heat.
Right. Yeah.
And which would okay, so here's the thing. What that says to me, just in a nutshell, is how many times have we heard witnesses say, the eyes glowed, the eyes glowed. And it's hard to understand that, because you think, well, if your eyes are glowing, how are they seeing? Because if you're emitting. But this would be, I would guess, very potentially proof of, or potential evidence of some kind of IR emission from the eyes.
Right. Yeah.
Unless I'm misrepresenting this completely, and Dean, I apologize if I am. But, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do this. This is the first one. And that's the second one. Wow. I wonder what kind of height references we're looking at here. That is really intense. Look at the size of those eyes and how far apart they are. That is really intense. Now, I'm not really super familiar with FLIR, with the forward-looking infrared, but I don't, like with IR light, oftentimes any light, and especially the booster lights used for IR, which is like night vision, will reflect in most things' eyes. Like, animals really commonly reflect a real strong return signature. But this is thermal, so this would imply heat, if I'm understanding this correct.
Behind a stump.
Behind a stump.
So it's behind a stump.
Wow. That really blows me away, folks. That's incredible. Do you know, well, this is one of those things where we really have to have a dialogue to dive into it, but my God, that's amazing. This would this would seem to definitely, to me, indicate that it was emitting that glow. And this would be the thermal representation of the glowing eyes that we keep hearing about.
Right.
Oh, man, that's really something. That is really something. I just wonder if it was visible with the naked eye. Did anybody see this first and then capture it on thermal? Because if it was also visible, like, I saw the red glowing eyes and I put the thermal on it and boom, there it was. That is amazing. I'm thoroughly blown away by this, folks. And this is an incredible thing. Thank you so much, Dean, for letting us showcase those here on the show. That is really incredible. My head is just spinning right now just thinking about this, but wow. Same. Yeah, it looks like maybe it was turned more to the side on this one, looking off at an angle, and then this one's like looking dead center. If it's the same location for both.
It seems to me like it is.
It does look like that because both of them seem to have that obstruction right in the front.
Right.
But I'm amazed at not only the size of the eyes, because, I mean, if these are the shoulders, this is the head of the Yowie, then these eyes are way far apart. And this definitely would demonstrate that as well, with more of a head-on look at you kind of thing. Unless this is two of them. But in any case, that's incredible. You saw it here, ladies and gentlemen, right here on the Paranormal Portal Live. Thank you, Dean. I'm absolutely honored. That is incredible. Really cool things. Yeah, that's... I mean, I'm literally just spinning, thinking of what this means or what it could mean. But I want to know more about it before I speak too much at length. But, God, that's
check
awesome.
Check the phone.
Here's the phone.
Check the phone.
Oh.
Check the phone.
I got the phone, and this is from Australia, as it turns out. Welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. I just want to shed a little bit of light on what you're looking at the moment.
Sweet.
Perfect.
Now, the first one that you saw there, the side-on view or semi-side-on view, where it's sort of looking out to the side, initially, these are both taken on the same night that we got the footage, or Buck took the footage, Buck Buckingham.
Oh, right.
Now, prior to that footage, he radioed to us and said, I have something behind a stump. It's looking out and it's looking directly at me. And that is what he captured, right? Now, the second one you showed, where it's more of a squarish thing, I have no idea. I don't even know if it's the same one. I have to go back through the footage again.
Okay.
But the first one that you showed was really interesting. Now, the reason it's interesting is because 2 weeks later, we returned to that same location. Now, myself and Gary, we'd all walk down. There's a group of four of us. We'd walk from base camp at night, roughly around 11 or 12 o'clock at night. We'd walk to a place where we called Crossroads. Now, it's clearly visible from base camp in a straight line. It was probably about 150 yards, 100 yards. And myself and Gary decided we'd walk back to camp and just get a couple of stools, fold-up stools, that would clip to our backpacks because we were going out on a hike.
Sure.
Now, Buck had a thermal on him, and he's watching us walking back to base camp. Now, when we're halfway to base camp, out from left to right comes this creature. Now, Buck radios us as we're entering base and says, have either of you turned around, walked back towards me, and back into the forest? We said, negative. And he questioned us probably about 4 times. He was shocked. Now, what he saw was that first picture. He described it exactly like that first picture with a cone head.
Right.
Now, it came from left to right, and it walked out from behind us, and it walked down the track towards him to the other side, from left to right, and it back into the bush. Now, he had a full view of this in the thermal. Now, he hadn't pressed record because he wasn't expecting it. Normally, you have a pan around. If you see something, then you hit record.
Sure.
But, like in this situation, his mind was trying to digest what was going on.
Right.
So this creature here, it walks from left to right. Now, he said it was about 6 feet tall. It was definitely, without any question at all, on 2 legs, bipedal, walking across the track. It was stooped, and it had that shaped head. So we believe that is the same one 2 weeks later.
Wow. That is so intense. Wow. Now, did he visually see the glow with his eyes or just through the thermal?
Everything was viewed through the thermal at the time. Yeah.
But when you're looking at this, Dean, does it seem to lend that to you that the heat is coming from the eyes? I mean, that's some pretty profound hot spots.
Well, yeah, no, well, it will, and also, I mean, with my fleur, a couple of months earlier, I captured another one, and the fleur was black and white. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is an expensive fleur. It's a H series, and I think it cost us in Australia somewhere around the vicinity of $10,000 at the time. And so it was pretty good, but it was aging. But now Gary's done this before. He's done this with his dog as a test, as an experiment. Mm-hmm. Now the hair will insulate a lot of the heat, but any orifice, being the bottom, or your eyes, your mouth, etc., that will show more heat. Now, when we had the footage when Buck took the footage, which was a little bit prior to those two images that you've just seen, there was one hugging a tree out there in the darkness. Right. Now, with its arm around the tree, because it had less hair obviously on the face and on the hand and the face, immediate face, was glowing a lot hotter. It was a far better heat source than the rest of the body that was covered in hair.
Wow. I'm absolutely...
Anyway, I'll leave that with you guys. I just called you just briefly just to explain those two pictures.
Hey, Dean, real quick, we have one quick question. One of our chatters, Titan, wants to know, do you believe that all Yowies exhibit the eye shine, or is that just, do you believe all of them have eye shine and such like that?
They don't. They absolutely don't. And this is an anomaly that we can't explain. And the reason we can't explain it is because we don't know enough about them. They have never been studied properly. Mm-hmm. We don't have a body per se. Well, perhaps the government does. I don't know. Right. But we haven't studied them properly, so we don't have all the answers. Right. Now, you'll get reports out there where they say the eyes turn from yellow to red,
right? Mm-hmm.
And the personality of the creature will also change as they've changed to red. Oh. My experience is when I got hit by that one, his eyes was glowing white, like a dull, translucent grey stroke white. Now, that's something you don't hear a lot of. Generally, it's going to be yellow or red, but there was one that I was knocking around about within the Blue Mountains for quite a long time. I never saw his eyes glow once.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much.
But the one that hit me, his eyes were self-generating, and they do self-generate. How they do it, we don't know. Right. Anyway, nice to talk to you guys.
Pleasure as always, sir. Thank you so much. I'm absolutely honored, and I hope all's well for you and Oz.
Sorry.
Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, Dean. Thanks, Dean. Wes popped in the chat. He says, Dean should talk to American Bigfoot researchers. They know everything. Just ask them. They'll tell you.
Oh, that's awesome. That was really cool. That's really awesome. Leave it to Wes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, that's awesome.
God love you, gentlemen.
I think it's great. Thank you again,
that's
Dean,
awesome.
for letting us showcase those here. That's
that's
really
awesome.
Fun.
Yeah,
that's some amazing.
So did he say that was 2 weeks after, or was that 2 weeks before?
After.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Is what I understood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Awesome. Hope things are good in Oz. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to move on to our regularly scheduled newscast. Are you ready, Don?
Sure, why not?
Let's do the news. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal newscast. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, your anchor, and with my co-anchor, Mr. Longbeard here, so we'll try to...
He means like the millstone around his neck.
That's, well, co-anchor, brick, whatever you want to call it.
Great.
Leading our newscast tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is a landmark moment in space exploration where turns out Captain Kirk made it. He actually went to space.
He's not just a poser anymore.
Nope, he's not just a poser. He's the real thing. I don't think he was really captain, though, but they probably gave him one of those pins with the wings on it or something. But this is from unexplained-mysteries.com is reporting that William Shatner successfully soars into space. The veteran actor 90 was one of 4 passengers to reach the edge of space during today's Blue Origin flight. Shatner, who famously played Star Trek's indomitable Captain James T. Kirk, may have been used to boldly going where no man has gone before on TV, but now has paid a visit to the final frontier for real, making him the oldest person ever to venture into space.
That's right.
The mission, which launched from the Texas desert this morning, was also carrying Blue Origin executive Audrey Powers, former NASA engineer Chris Bojusen, and Glenn DeVries, the chief executive of clinical research firm Mendidata Solutions. The launch and subsequent flight went without a hitch, with the booster stage separating and landing successfully shortly before the capsule, which touched down after a flight lasting around 11 minutes. Shatner described the flight as a life-changing experience. Speaking to Blue Origin founder Jeff Bezos, he described the sensation of seeing the safety of the Earth's blue sky disappearing beneath him as the rocket ascended. Everybody in the world needs to do this, he said. It was unbelievable. To watch the land for yourself, yeah, we can go down and watch it land, but I'm just glad he made it. Didn't you say that Jeff Bezos kept interrupting him, too?
That's what I understood, yeah. Every time he opened his mouth, Jeff opened his mouth first. So.
So, he wasn't about to let Kirk upstage him.
Thunder.
I guess not. Well, there you go.
He's positioning himself for the Green Girls.
Yeah, could be. Could be.
I've been jealous of the Green Girls.
Oh, jeez. Sound like some of my exes. I'm just kidding.
Yet he became...
All right.
Oh, jeez.
Let's continue here.
Cold Stare says, yet he became frustrated when he kept telling them to engage, and they told him to get back into get in the back seat.
Sit down and buckle up.
Sit down, shut up, and
take it outside, Kirk. The next up, we've got some paranormal activity going on in a haunted pub, nightclub, actually. But pub, nightclub, whatever. Potatoes, you know. And this has come from unexplained-mysteries.com. Ghost moves chair in haunted nightclub. The CCTV footage has emerged which appears to show a chair in a nightclub moving entirely on its own. With the Halloween season fast approaching, this eerie piece of footage, which comes courtesy of a nightclub manager in York, England, is certainly timely, even if it is somewhat controversial. The black and white CCTV clip shows the interior of the Pop World York nightclub, just as the manager, who was reportedly the only person in the building at the time, leaves the room. After a few seconds, one of the chairs can be seen sliding across the floor on its own, stopping and then moving again a few times before the video ends. Well, that's the last time our manager does a delivery on his own, the club's Facebook page reads. Even the ghosts of Pop World know Halloween is round the corner. But is this really evidence of paranormal activity or something else going on? Like maybe trying to drum up some Halloween business? I'm just saying. It sounds like marketing to me. Could be, Don. I'm just saying.
Wow.
It's worth noting that given that it's impossible to see the entire room, someone could simply be standing off to the side, pulling a piece of string or fishing line that is tied around the chair leg. The resolution is so low that it'd be very difficult to see the string in the clip. Whether or not this is actually what is happening in the footage, however, remains unclear. You can check out the clip yourself below, and I think we'll do that, ladies and gentlemen.
Sweet.
Let's check out this clip. There it is. There's the manager. What's he doing? This is pretty uneventful so far. Okay. They probably could have clipped that a little cleaner. There he goes.
And he comes back. Oh, I forgot his keys.
Forgot my keys. Got to go home.
Oh.
What, did I miss something?
Dun, 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 dun.
Is something going to happen here? Keep your eyes on the chair.
Oh, there it is. The one right by the post.
Yeah. Okay. So this is why this clip is is already suspect to me. It's like, look at all the other chairs around here. They're these stools.
Why is that the only one?
This
with
is
four
the only
legs?
one with 4 legs and a back.
That won't fall over.
Yeah.
When it's tugged.
I mean, if there was other chairs like this over here, I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's weird. But it's the only 4-legged chair over here. It's the only one that wouldn't tip over. It was pulled with a string. I don't know. It doesn't fit the scenario. And if he's the manager, wouldn't he put that back where it belongs?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't buy this so much, ladies and gentlemen. And that's
Play it again. Let them see it.
All right, let's play it again. I'm gonna play half of it again. Well, there he goes. Got his keys. And then
now, why was that particular chair out there when it has all those other stools right there? And then it goes to the bottom right corner directly. It's just like
it's heading off camera. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's being pulled towards the gap on the right. Yeah. Could it be? It could be, but
nah.
I'm not
Nah.
very
Nah.
not very convinced personally.
No. Yeah, it's having a problem with its lumbar. Rachel gets right, says ghost like back support. Yeah, it's got a little sciatica going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Wow.
it's not easy to keep that ectoplasm looking so trim. All right, here's the next one, and this is a follow-up of our story on Demi Lovato, because she's back in the news. And she's bringing political correctness all the way to the universe.
Don't let it go.
This is unexplained-mysteries.com. Demi Lovato calling ET's alien is offensive.
Yes, I'm sure it is.
You can't make this stuff up.
Well, somebody is. I think it's Dummy Lovato. Let it go. Dummy, let it go.
Speaking in a recent interview, the singer claimed that the term alien is offensive to extraterrestrials.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Lovato, who is currently promoting a new investigative TV series on the subject of UFOs, entitled Unidentified with Demi Lovato, has been speaking to media outlets when she made the rather controversial claim that the term alien is actually offensive to the aliens, which the article uses it right afterwards themselves. I think that we have to stop calling them aliens, because aliens is a derogatory term for anything, she said in response to a question about an unreleased song. I call them ETs.
What? What has this got to do with an unreleased song?
Well, of course you're going to plug that, right? Her comments ended up going viral, with her quote becoming a trending topic on social media.
Oh, my God.
The TV show itself follows the singer, her best friend, and her sister as they go on an expedition to visit UFO hotspots, eyewitnesses, alien abductees, and UFO researchers in a quest to uncover the truth about the phenomena. And Demi's going to dig that up. She's going to get right to the heart of it.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to film everything that goes down when I go and search for these UFOs so that my fans can come along for the ride, she said. Lovato also remains adamant that extraterrestrial visitors harbor no ill will towards humanity. Well, okay, good. That's good. I want people to have an open mind and heart and to realize that these beings are looking out for our best interest, she told Entertainment Weekly. There's nothing to fear. If they wanted to hurt us, they would have hurt us.
So I have a question, Demi. What about all these abductees who say that they've been experimented on and horrible things have been done to them, and
it's just lost in translation.
Because
they're extraterrestrial. And they don't understand the Earth ways.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. So they mean us no harm.
They don't.
They just want to mutilate cows.
Now cows, on the other hand,
various orifices.
They can core some anuses in a hurry, but they don't mean us any.
No harm.
I don't know. This is another situation where they got somebody that's a former Disney girl and musician.
I wonder if she's related to Tom Ding Dong about maybe
I don't
that's
think she's related, but
no, her promotive
No, she did some stuff with Stephen Greer though.
Oh, okay.
Right. And I like Stephen Greer for the most part. I think he's fine, but I don't know.
This is the same girl that says she was being attacked by demons because there was a fly in her car.
No, that was a different one.
No, I'm pretty sure it was Dummy Luva. Let it go.
No, it wasn't. I think it was. I can't remember now. It's another one of those Disney girls, though, that said that. I think so. Anyway, let's go on to the next one because that one was so much fun. Let's see what we can do here. This is from U.S. Air Force officers, apparently said this on record or off the record. U.S. Air Force officers, UFOs tampered with our nukes.
That I believe.
I believe that, yeah. A panel of former U.S. Air Force officers will be presenting evidence that UFOs tampered with U.S. nuclear weapons. Set to take place on October 19th at the National Press Club, the event will be attended by... When is this? Is this a current? Yeah, it's 2021. Okay. Will be attended by 4 former U.S. Air Force officers, Nuclear Missile Crew Commander Robert Salas, Nuclear Missile Targeting Officer Robert Jameson, Nuclear Missile Crew Commander David Schindel, and Missile Test Photographic Officer Robert Jacobs. According to the press release, the 4 men will discuss their involvement in UFO incidents at nuclear missile launch facilities and test sites during the Cold War era. Salas, in particular, who was stationed at an underground launch facility assigned to Malmstrom Air Force Base, Montana, in 1967, has spent the last 25 years talking about his experiences there. To this day, no explanation for the objects witnessed by the officers or the mysterious disabling of nuclear weapons in connection with these sightings has ever been found. They're now calling for Congress to launch an investigation to hold public hearings. Numerous other UFO-related incidents with possible implications for national security have been publicly acknowledged by former public officials, whose efforts resulted in the creation of a secret Pentagon UFO investigations group, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, or AATIP. Oh boy. The press release reads, you'll be able to watch the event live on YouTube on October 19th here, and they got a link. When is the 19th? What is it today, the 13th? Yeah, all right, 6 more days.
Huh.
Okay. Well, that would be interesting to watch. I'd like to see what those guys have to say.
Okay.
You don't?
No. I'd love to. Yeah, no, I want to. Yeah, because that mouthful of an acronym right there was Luis Elizondo, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So
he was the former head of that, as I understand.
Yeah. So there you go.
As I understand, before he was I don't know, forced out or pushed out or he left on
he
bad
left
terms.
for the TTBSA.
Yeah, exactly. So.
And addendum. It was Adriana Grande.
Yeah, Ariana Grande.
Ariana Grande that was attacked by demon flies.
I knew it was someone else, but yeah, demon flies.
That's how I found it. Do you know that? I Googled demon fly celebrity, and it came right up. Ariana Grande.
Wow, there you go.
Demon fly celebrity, and you get Ariana.
She's not known for her years on Disney or with Miley Cyrus. She's known for the demon flies. Here's another one. From,
I didn't know she was on with what's her name.
I think she was. She was on Ariana Grande. Maybe she wasn't on that one. I thought she was on Smiley Cyrus or whatever. I don't know. Whatever. Hannah Montana.
Hannah Montana.
So here's another article from unexplained-mysteries.com. Russia to beat Tom Cruise in space movie bid.
Oh.
A Russian film crew has arrived at the space station with the intention of shooting the first ever movie in space. Back in May of last year, NASA confirmed that it would be working alongside veteran Hollywood actor Tom Cruise on a new movie that would be at least partially filmed aboard the International Space Station, making it the first movie ever to feature footage filmed in outer space. Not content with missing out, however, Russia later revealed that it was seeking a leading actress to venture into space as part of a rival plan to beat the U.S. to the punch.
Oh, my gosh.
It's another Cold War. With the arrival of Russian film crew aboard the space station this week, however, it looks as though Cruise's defeat in this latest twist in the space race is all but inevitable. Another new among new crew members is Russian actress Yulia Parasilde. Okay, sorry, that's not a normal name. Who will be playing the role of a cardiac surgeon who's been sent into space to save a cosmonaut. 2 other Russian crew members, Oleg Novitsky and Pyotr Dubrov, will also appear in the film. The team will have only 12 days to shoot all the space scenes for the movie. Not everyone, however, approves of the idea of using the ISS for this purpose. The ISS is no place for performers, all sorts of clowns or tourists, said Mikhail Kornienko, one of several cosmonauts to have vocally criticized the stunt. It's a huge space lab, and you shouldn't get in the way of professional work. Well, how do you fund that professional work, though? You probably need to rent it out to movie crews every once in a while. I'm just saying.
Oh, boy.
Could be. That's one way to fund it, though, right, Don?
Wow. Yeah, you might as well get some street cred for it, right?
Kirk was just up there. You got it on a guest appearance.
Yeah, why didn't they send him up to the ISS? That would have been cool.
Well, I think it's all pretty cool, but yeah. Here's a scary story. And
no.
yeah, this one sounds absolutely horrible. When you're going to the cemetery to pay your final respects, this one almost looks like they didn't want her to leave. Won't you stay with us? And here you go. Before you wonder what the hell I'm talking about, here is the next article. Unexplained-mysteries.com. Woman sues after being sucked into a grave. Now, this story's old, from March 18th, 2019. But I thought, God, I can't pass that one up. Joanne Cullen, who had been... Cullen,
yeah. Sparkly vampires.
Yeah. Had been visiting her parents' grave in Long Island when the ground swallowed her up. The 64-year-old is from North Belmore, had bent down to fix a bow on a wreath at the headstone when a sinkhole opened up beneath her, causing her to sink into the ground up to her waist. Oh my God! Could you just imagine? She should have stroked out right there, like, and just frozen. As the hole opened, she also fell forward, hitting her head on the tombstone and cracking a tooth.
Wow.
Oh, that poor woman.
Wow.
She recalls crying out for help. However, there was nobody around to assist.
Well, no, nobody alive, at least.
Yeah. According to her lawyer, Cullen became an emotional wreck after the incident and now suffers from nightmares and headaches, as well as a fear of walking through open fields. Getting sucked into your parents' grave when you go to visit them on a cool December afternoon with the sun going down, it's terrifying and traumatizing, he said. Yeah, I think so. The St. Charles Resurrection Cemetery has since
Resurrection Cemetery.
She did live. Just saying. She made it.
Or was it somebody being resurrected from the grave that accidentally sucked her down? She was digging their way out and it created a sinkhole. And
Maybe.
wow.
They're suing the cemetery for a whopping $5 million.
Wow.
That's $5 million
That's
of pain
insane.
and suffering right there. It is believed that the sinkhole opened up due to an issue with how an adjacent grave was filled in.
So here's an interesting thing. So depending on what kind of coffin or box that was used to actually bury the person, it could have become compromised and caved in and created that void
Yep.
that she fell into. I mean, think about it. I mean, if she fell into her up to her waist, it said, or
Yeah, she fell up to her waist, but she smacked her face on the tombstone. as well.
But I mean, depending on how big mine's going to be like 3 feet tall because I'm fat, but 3 feet. I mean, that's
a hell of a void to fill.
That's yeah. So when you step in the wrong spot and Don sucks you down, you're going for a ride.
Welcome to hell.
Wow.
That's creepy.
I have heard.
Creepy.
Digger Dog says, have heard stories like that in my 27 years of the cemetery industry. Wow.
That's gotta be absolutely
working the graveyard shift for 27 years. Wow.
horrifying. Graveyard shift. Is that what you said?
That's what he said.
Oh.
Well, that's what I said. But
Yeah.
27 years really in the cemetery. How many? Wow. that's got to have stories.
Well, I think working anywhere for 27 years deserves some kind of recognition.
True. Here's your gold shovel. Get the hell out. Sorry.
You can have that plot over in the corner when you're done.
Been working 27 years and I just get a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
The worst part is I had to dig it too. Sorry.
That's all right.
I'm going to hell.
That's all right. And hell, you'll be in good company.
Apparently
Just
so.
like that. What was that? That South song.
Dead
It's a great
South?
song.
The Dead South?
The Dead South. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Yep.
That's,
This is another one, and this one's kind of a miraculous one. Actually, I thought, wow, this is pretty bizarre. Unexplained-Mysteries reports that a devastating tornado leaves house untouched.
wow, that was a directed energy weapon.
Well, look at that forest
I know,
around it.
yeah.
Everything is laying down.
That's true, huh?
I mean, how in the hell? That must have been one hell of a built house.
Wow.
Remarkable drone footage recorded in Georgia. This is an old one, too. This is from 2019 as well. But again, I saw that and went, ooh, we got to talk about that. Remarkable drone footage recorded in Georgia shows one unscathed house surrounded by total devastation. Matt Gillespie had been visiting his parents on March 4th when he decided to use a drone to record the aftermath of a tornado that had hit the towns of Ellerslie and Waverly Hall. The extreme wind had left a trail of destruction throughout the area, with trees uprooted, houses destroyed, and debris left strewn across the ground. Perhaps the most surprising thing of all, however, was a single house that had somehow managed to remain untouched despite all the trees surrounding it being felled by the tornado. The residents of the house are okay, said Gillespie. I don't know how many houses in total were messed up, but on that road there were at least 8 that were affected. My parents experienced the tornadoes. My dad is in the military and said he'd never been that scared in his life. The owner of the intact house later posted on YouTube to confirm that they were all right.
Wow.
The community really pulled together to get all our long driveway cleared so we were not trapped in, they wrote. A lot of hard work, and people were just pulling over to help out. The house in question can be seen in the video below from 3 minutes and 9 seconds. Sure, why not? Let's just let's kill that for a sec. I just want to go to the part where the house is. 304. Here
Oh,
we
wow.
go.
Yeah, there it is right there. Yeah.
Well, no, this is 309 is right in here.
Yeah.
There it is. Yep. Look at that. Well, their neighbors didn't do too bad, though, over here. But, man, that is really something. Look at all that. Well, this guy over here was pretty lucky, too, though. It looks, I don't know.
Yeah, but these trees are a lot closer to this house
Yeah.
than they are to the other houses.
Yeah, they
too,
are.
though. But, I mean, just,
That is incredible.
that's like exactly the path of the tornado.
Yeah, it
in
really
between
is.
those houses, but right through that one.
Right. Man, whoever that contractor is, they should get a raise.
No kidding. Wow.
We stand with tornadoes, I'll tell you. That's pretty incredible. Wow. There you have it, folks. Look at that path. Mm-hmm. It really did just cut a trench through that whole woodland.
It does, yeah.
Oof. Crazy, folks. That is absolutely crazy. But there you have it. And this has been a production of the Paranormal Portal News. Now back to the show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be continuing in our journey through the Paranormal Portal tonight. I didn't realize that. Let me pull that back up. Where was it? Here? Yeah, there it is. Yep, there it is. Connection. There we go. I guess we're back. I'm not sure what happened there, folks, but we got a little lag hiccup from the interwebs, and looks like we're back. Let us know if you're having problems where you are, but I'm not sure how long that was spinning.
My screen looks fine. It didn't miss a beat.
Okay, good. Well, that's my favorite beat. The ones you don't miss. But we got, look at the chat just rolling, but that's just because I was off of it. It's catching up now. Wow.
Oh, yeah, catching. You're way far back.
I am way far back.
Wow.
Welcome to my
Why
life,
don't you do
Don.
me a favor and catch up, Mr. Tomato?
Absolutely.
Anyhow,
we got a lot more of the paranormal goodness to come. Right away, I think we're going to glide over into the Germer Files. So I hope you guys are ready. We got a couple of great things coming up here on the Germer Files. First of all, this Friday is the 800 episode of Sasquatch Chronicles.
800 episodes?
800 episodes.
Now, is that the podcast, or is that...
That's his podcast.
His podcast, yeah.
Yep, that's his podcast.
Gosh,
and,
what's he been doing, slacker?
Slacker. That's a lot of shows.
We did 157 in our first year.
Yeah, but he's been... Anyway, it's a huge landmark, and
is.
it's really cool. Obviously, Sasquatch Chronicles has been a show that has helped form a lot of these shows that you
really
see.
Paved the way.
Yep, he cut a lot of the paths that we're walking down now, ladies and gentlemen. And so, as the first part of the Germer Files, we're going to check out the promo for his 800 episode. So
the trailer,
hang on to your...
se.
Yeah, it's kind of a trailer, isn't it?
Oh.
All right, here we go. We're going to go into the Germer Files.
800 shows. We've laughed together, we've cried together. I never thought I'd be doing the show this long. Follow your dreams. People who claim to be smarter than you will tell you it's impossible. As I hit 800 shows, I'm reminded of KGON 92.3 in Portland, Oregon. I didn't know what a podcast was, so I presented my idea to a local radio station. I'll never forget the program director's words to me. He said, "Wes, you got a terrible voice, and your idea for a show is ridiculous." I can say after 40 years of broadcasting experience, no one, I repeat, no one, will ever sit and listen to people talk about their Bigfoot encounters. Well, Mr. 40 years of broadcasting experience, we'll just see about that.
911, what are you reporting?
Jesus Christ, you better...
Sir?
Zia,
Hello?
get somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh.
You know, both of us agreed as we sat there one night and had cigarettes and coffee, you know, it was no damn bear.
I'm Grover Krantz. I'm a professor of anthropology here at Washington State University. Well, I'm satisfied that this Bigfoot thing exists.
The way it moved, almost as if it was gliding across the beach. I've never seen anything move like that in my life.
It looked like somebody was bent over and had their head in the window of the deer blind, and it either heard me or smelt me, and he pulled his head out of the tent and stood straight up, and that shocked me.
I spent a career in the Navy as what we call a cryptolinguist. I started playing them, and immediately I recognized that there was language there.
I wish somebody could tell me what they were trying to say or what they were saying. That's something I've been wanting to know for 40 some odd years now, and I still don't know what they were asking me.
Once when we come around a bend in the creek, there one stood across the creek from us. And of course Roger's horse just went berserk.
And as he got up, I was able to get up and control him until I went around the other side and got the camera out of the saddlebag, and then I turned my horse loose.
And he grabbed the saddlebag cover, one flap that he had on there, and unflapped it and got the camera out.
Hello, my name is John Bindernagel. I'm a wildlife biologist.
So once again, ladies and gentlemen, special congratulations to Wes and Sasquatch Chronicles. It's been a hell of a journey. I know that your show walked me through years sitting in a cubicle working on web pages and and I really did. I mean, it was the release that I had, and I know that is the same for many people around the face of the world. That your show has been revolutionary, and it really did cut a lot of the paths that we're all walking down now. So congratulations on 800 shows. Mm-hmm. That's phenomenal. So
I'll give him the clap.
Absolutely. That's for you, Mr. Germer. And speaking of Mr. Germer, we actually have one more Germer file to get to tonight. And this was one of the Sasquatch Chronicles shorts that I haven't played yet. And I had it all loaded up here. And I remember I just never got to it. But here we go, folks. Without further ado, let's get to one of the Sasquatch Chronicles shorts that Wes has been doing lately. And you can find these over on youtube.com/Sasquatch Chronicles. And you can check out all of the short episodes. They're excerpts from his full-length episodes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
check out his shorts.
Jesus Christ.
All
right.
He'll start modeling them.
Oh, no. Okay, let's get to this before.
How's the gun show? Sorry.
All right, we're going to get to this file before.
Isn't that a cute little fella?
Okay.
I was out on the river. I was going to do some frogging, and I usually go out there, like I said, a few hours before, so I can just pretty much get a hand on to see how many people are going to be in the general area, if there is going to be anybody there, just to go frogging. If there's going to be too many people in that area, I would have moved to another area. But it's not all the time is there people out there. It's just I usually like to try to go out there a little early. Area that I go to is known in this area as the Oaks, and it's a big oak head, and it's about I-95 is the closest main road, and we're probably a good about 20 miles off the road, and it's all marshland. So the only real way to get out there is an airboat, and so I was running along, and I was going out to the oak head, and pulled up in there. And as I was pulling up in there, I seen something shoot off into the bushes, and I waved it off as a hog. There's a lot of wildlife around in this area. It butts up against a farmer who owns a lot of property there, and they put a lot of hay out there, so it brings a lot of deer in the area, and it brings a lot of hogs in the area. So I just pretty much passed it off as maybe it was just a hog, bringing up in there. And it may have just been a hog. I never knew it was the big guy. And I'm sure if there was the big guy, I would have seen the sheer size after, But anyway, I pulled my boat up into the oak head, and I spun it around. I usually try to get the front of the boat to point the river. So it's when I get ready to go, I just fire up and just, get the boat out to the river. And so I ended up pulling up there, and I shut off the motor, and I jumped off my front seat onto my bow, and underneath my seat, I got basket seats. I had my thermos down there, so I got my thermos out. I got some coffee, poured a cup of coffee, and when I went up to get back up into the seat, I heard something really going. It sounded like a freight train just running through the palmettos. It was just tearing up palmettos. And, I felt a little safe because I'm up on the boat. I'm probably a good, standing on the bow, I'm about 4 feet above the ground. When I stand up on my seat package, I'm a good 8 feet off the ground. So you're pretty safe when you're standing up on the seat package where your seat is. And, so then something started just banging the ground, just hitting the ground, and I could feel the vibration in the ground from whatever was hitting. And then it was a few seconds later, something just made the most god-awful noise I've ever heard in my life. It was just a shriek, a screaming. It was just making all kinds of noise. And then that's when the mud started flying. And some mud flew out. Something hit the side of my boat. I didn't see what hit the side of my boat. I turned on my headlight to look in the back of my boat, and a big old piece of mud hit the back of my boat, hit my rudders. And I looked up and over to see what was throwing the mud, and I looked in the direction where it was coming from. Some flew over my head, and that's when I seen what I saw, and it was the most terrifying thing I've ever seen in my life. And I didn't know, it scared me. It was the biggest thing I've ever seen in my life. I didn't know if it was really what I was seeing, or if it was there's oak trees all in there, but the color of them, he was a lot lighter than any of the trees, so you could pretty much make out what was standing there, and it was huge. It was super huge. The biggest thing I've seen in my life, and it scared me to the core. And he was big. He was huge, and he was pumped up, and he was very upset. It was super huge. It was a big dude, and it didn't look like a man, but it didn't look like a monkey either. I mean, I hear some people say they look like gorillas and all. It didn't look like a gorilla. And it had a brow ridge all the way across its face. It had a big mouth, super huge mouth. The eyes were kind of sunk in, and his face looked real leathery, like brown leather and rough. And he didn't have a lot of like real long hair or anything. The hair was like brown, light brown, like a leathery color. Had a beard. It had hair around his neck area. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, he had junk, you could see that. And he was just ungodly size. I've listened since then to certain stories on the internet and everything where they say they're super huge upstairs, their body and upper body and everything, and they're skinny, and their legs are real skinny. It wasn't anything like that. The legs were huge. His arms were huge. His whole body was huge. And he was and the front of my boat, I'd say, is a good 4 foot wide, and he was every bit of that. He was huge. It was just a big mountain of meanness. He just was looking at me like he wanted to kill me. He just looked like he was mad, very mad. His mouth wasn't open at that point. And all the noises that they made before that I heard, it had to have been that it made the noises, and I'm hoping to God there was only one there. For all I know, it could have been more. I don't know. I was just mostly focused and fixed on him because I was at that point then when I really knew who was looking at me and everything. I was trying to figure out in my mind how I was going to be able to turn around and fire up my boat and get out of there alive. Because I didn't want to turn my back to it because 25, 30 feet from where I was standing on my seat package was this guy. It was the big guy. And it would have took no time. I mean, he would have been on me before I would have been if he really wanted to, I guess. He could have been on me and it would have been no chance. I mean, it would have folded me up like a pretzel. And I'm a big guy. I'm right at 6 foot, weigh about 240. And I'm nothing next to this thing. It was just hard. It was really hard.
So there you have it, folks. That is the Germer Files for tonight. Special thanks again to Wes letting us use those shorts as well. Those are excellent little snapshots of full-length interviews that he's done, but they're awesome. Very cool. So we have a lot more paranormal on deck here. What time is it?
It is 8 o'clock.
It's already 1 hour gone by. How is that possible?
1 hour, 2 minutes.
1 hour and 2 minutes,
1
folks.
hour, 2 minutes.
We are cruising through the night, but let's get to the next part of our show, which is going to be some more of this paranormal fun that we love so well. And we're going to go now to an article that we've been working through on Factinate.com. It's real life supernatural experiences. And these have been pretty incredible. So I don't know if you're not a believer, some of these experiences would seem to be plenty convincing enough to make you a believer, but still we run into those, I'm not a believer, but, and those stories always blow me away. How people walk away from these, really profound events and still have no consideration for the possibilities, just beyond me. Just weird. But anyway, let's get to this. Again, from Factinate.com, we're on number 66 on this page. So let's see what's going on. Number 66, Night Pops. Here's a story from when I was 4 or 5 years old. My grandmother was looking through an old family photos and asking me who the people were. We got to a picture of my grandfather, and even though I'd never met him, she asked me who he was, just as a joke, I guess. My answer chilled her to the bone. I said, Poppy Jim. She asked me how I knew that, and I told her, oh, he comes and tucks me in and tells me he loves me sometimes after you go to bed. Oh, wow. I think those are such cool stories. Don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they're
because the idea of them coming back and interacting with the family.
Yeah, exactly. It's very powerful. All right, number 67, The Invisible Man. We didn't even see him. This happened in 2009 when I was 16 years old. It was the first weekend of summer and nobody was home when I woke up. At around 11 a.m., I grabbed a snack and went down to the basement to watch TV. I had plans to hang out with a friend at 3 p.m. that day, like I said before. I started watching TV around 11, knowing that I had 4 hours before I was supposed to head over to my friend's house. I'd only been watching TV for about 30 minutes when my mom came down the stairs and asked me where I'd been all day. I said, what are you talking about? I've been awake less than an hour. I look at my watch and I see it's well past 5 in the afternoon. I ran upstairs and checked my phone to see that I have several missed calls from my friend and my mom. Mom's side of the story is what makes me nauseous when I think about this event to this day. She was with my little brother at a baseball game at around 1 to 3 that day. She and my brother were home when I supposedly woke up and went down to the basement, but neither of them have any memory of even seeing me that morning. When my mom got home at around 3, she checked the entire house for me, including the basement where I had been sitting on the couch watching television. It's been 10 years and I still have no idea what happened on that day. It is by far the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me. And although I talk about it with my family like it's a funny little thing that happened, it genuinely chills me to the bones thinking about it. Wow. Yeah, so this guy just disappeared. He just wasn't even there for a whole day.
Wow.
But his recollection, he got up, went and watched TV at 11.
Spontaneous human invisibility.
Yeah, the invisible man, right? Yeah.
The remember we did that. We did a little.
Yes, that's right. That's right. There's a phenomenon, ladies and gentlemen, and a couple of times throughout my entire career of looking into the paranormal, but there is an event that some people have experienced where they are spontaneously visible. Now, in most of those cases, the people that it happens to are aware that they're seeing other people, but no matter what they do, people just ignore them. It's very strange. But in this case, the guy's memory is wiped too. So this is a little bit different, but still, maybe it's a similar kind of event. I don't know. Very weird. But at any rate, that's a crazy story.
Huh.
Number 68, the cats came back. We had a kitten-producing cat. A kitten-producing cat. Okay. All right.
Gosh, I wonder how that works.
It's like a Pez dispenser spitting out kittens.
Click, 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 click.
Kittens, everybody gets one. Look under your chair. Kittens. We knew it had kittens since it was pregnant for a while, and then it wasn't. We have no idea where the kittens were, which was an issue. I was curious about it and looked right at the cat, thinking to myself, where are your kittens? But without saying anything, if that makes sense. My imagination immediately went to the location. Our cat could jump into it from the pillars on the side of the porch through some damaged boards right above our porch. I just knew they were around. I dashed over there, mounted the stone pillar, and peered through the gap in the boards. The kittens were right in front of me. I've never experienced another event like it in my entire life.
Huh.
That was by Successful Resort 447. Thank you, Trace.
Yes, Trace Linnell.
Thank you so much. That's awesome.
Clap, clap. Everybody gets a clap.
Don loves to press the buttons, so I got to let him once in a while.
I had to remember which one it was. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, no, you did good. That is a cool story, but there's this one lady that I did try to get on the show, And unfortunately, due to her schedule and the fact that she's from, I think she lives in Africa most of the time.
Oh.
But she's a communicator of animals, and she's like an animal psychic. And there's some stories of her, and I can't remember her name anymore. But I really did try to pursue her to see if she'd come on the show. But she's worked with these animals that are having trouble. They're like in parks that are resuscitating, animals that have been, in small cages and stuff, resuscitating from small zoos, and then they bring them back to rehabilitate them. But she had this experience talking to this panther, and the thing that made it so amazing was, according to her, the panther was really concerned about this small panther cub that it had known from the place it was from. And this panther wouldn't leave its enclosure. It would just stay in there. They were concerned about it, really wasn't eating. But she came in and talked to it, and apparently it, to her, came up with all these questions that she asked the park people about. And they told her that the kittens were fine, which she then went back and told this panther, allegedly, that they were fine and everything was okay, etc., etc. And after her visit, this panther that wouldn't leave its enclosure suddenly started going out and exploring like it was okay. But it was a nervous wreck worrying about the little ones that it left back at that other park. And so I thought, wow, that is really amazing. Is that possible? Sure. Why not? There's Aboriginals in Australia that allegedly communicate with animals like that and can like literally have discussions. I don't pretend to understand it. I don't know. It must be a completely telepathic thing. Obviously, they're not talking, but they are, able to do that. And I think that's just fascinating. I got to chew some gum. I'm getting all hoarse again. Right, Don?
Yes, Mr. Ed.
Sorry, I'm going to sound gross for a while.
Thought he was reaching for a weapon there for a second.
Grabbing my Don stick.
My beaten stick.
Don, it's time for your stick.
Ah.
But anyway, I think that's really interesting. And what this story would seem to demonstrate is that perhaps people can, in the right circumstances, have some kind of communication like that. I don't know. Very interesting. All right. Okay, let's go to the next one. And this one is called Ahead of Its Time. This one was from Successful Resort 447. That's right. This one is Ahead of Its Time. I had a dream that I was back in high school. At the beginning of the first year, everything was exactly the same, except I had the memories of my life after high school. And in the dream, I told all of my class that I was from the future, but nobody would believe me. Only one friend who was very, very smart said that time travel is theoretically possible. And this is where it gets weird. The next day, when I told my friends about it, their jaws dropped. They said back in junior year, I was acting weird one day, asking time travel questions. They told me I said I came from the future, and they also said that I was somehow out of it. That I was there, but at the same time, I kind of wasn't. I saw the shock in their eyes when I told them of what I dreamed. They even recounted some of the details in the dream that I didn't tell them. The weirdest thing is that I barely remember that day. I remember some of the stuff that also happened in the dream, but that day is really kind of foggy to me. Maybe my friends are joking with me, but I have known them for 15 years, and I know a genuine reaction when I see one. That was by String Trip. Yeah, I guess so. That was a trip.
Thanks, Ethan.
Huh?
Ethan.
What did Ethan?
He made a donation.
Aw, thank you very much. It didn't come up on my screen at all. Okay.
I barely saw it, but thanks, Ethan.
Thank you, Ethan. Ethan. Yeah, Ethan's here. Where you been, Ethan, by the way? You've been gone for a while.
He's been working.
Oh.
He's been working.
I didn't know that. Okay. Well, welcome back, Ethan. We missed you. All right, number 70, closet case. A couple of years ago, my father's immediate family had a reunion in Minnesota. We stayed at a little cabin on a lake, and of course, sitting around the campfire, my uncle was telling us all of his ghost stories, which put me just a little bit on edge. Later, when I went back to my room to go to sleep, I flipped off the light switch, and immediately both closet doors popped fully open.
Wow.
I literally lost my mind. That's by Kaiser Willell. Okay. Well, that'll do it. What is it with closets? They must be some kind of portal, right?
Well, yeah, you've seen the movie Monsters. Come on.
Oh, yeah, that's Mike Wazowski.
Mike
All right.
Wazowski.
Number 71, snowy sighting. A friend and I were up on this mountain house. It was snowing, and we were setting up some ramps at the bottom of a hill to do some snowboarding the next day. I accidentally dropped my keys while we were out there and did not notice it until it got dark. Well, I went back out on the trail to see if we could spot them, and when we got out to the woods to a clearing, I saw a silhouette of a child on a hill across from us. The kid was standing under a tree, laughing. It was late, snowing, and cold, so we were sketched out by it and kind of hustled back to the house. The next day we went back out, and there was a single gravestone on top of the hill under the tree for a 12-year-old child. I am not someone who believes in ghosts, but I have no explanation for what we saw. I'm actually getting chills remembering it now. That was by Kid Conundrum. I like that name, Kid Conundrum. Number 72, snap out of it. In early December 2015, my now ex-boyfriend's mother passed in her home following surgery and other health problems related to her heart. She was born with a rare condition, and unfortunately, she went into cardiac arrest, and we were unable to save her. So the event in and of itself was extremely traumatic and unexpected. A couple of nights later, we decided to go see some friends who wanted to offer their condolences to my ex. Everyone loved his mom. We were all sitting in our friend's living room watching television, and to be honest, they were trying really hard to distract us from everything. One friend, Amy, was just being her goofy self, and I was taking Snapchat videos. I distinctly remember taking a video of Amy, and I saved the video, but when I looked at my screen to watch it, it wasn't Amy. It was a grainy video with a background that appeared to be outside and 100% not in a living room. But on the screen was my ex's mom. She said the words, "I'm okay, baby, I'm okay." And multiple other friends saw it on my phone before it disappeared. She looked young and vibrant and had a huge smile on her face. Someone had tossed my phone to another friend across the couch to see it, and the video then disappeared. When we watched the original video back immediately after my ex's mom was gone, it was Amy in the video again, just like I had seen while recording it in the first place. My ex and his mom had a very close relationship, best friends really, so when he saw her on my screen letting him know she was okay, it was astounding. I saw it first and everyone noticed I was visibly upset. I cannot imagine what went through my ex's mind and heart when he saw that, but to this day, it's something we talk about and something he shares with new friends.
Wow.
It's something we just simply can't explain other than her coming through in a glitch to let us know that she was okay. That was by Mare Somnia. Huh. That's a really cool experience.
Yeah, that was cool.
Again, the mourning is so hard because you have this hole in you from the absence of this person that you love. And how do you feel that? Well, you don't. They say time heals all wounds, but I think for most of us, it just makes you learn to live with the scars. But something like that can be profoundly healing and cause a person to really, look forward with hope. I wish everybody had that.
Peace with the past.
Right, yeah, exactly. Just to surrender that pain and to know that the person you love and that you hold so dear is okay. They're okay. They're just in a different situation. And I just really wish there was some way everybody could have that experience that is hurting because of a loss of a loved one. It would probably, almost remove the whole mourning process, or at least a big part of it.
Right.
The unknown is the painful part. Number 73, Deja Vu. I had a dream at the age of 9 where I was walking through an alleyway with another boy who I didn't know at the time, having a conversation about school grades or something. 2 years later, I met this boy, and it turned out he's a friend of my brother who is a year older than me. But it still didn't hit me yet that he was the one I was talking to in my dream. Another 3 years pass, and we're now in high school, and all three of us are walking through the usual alleyway that we passed through to get home. Then a conversation about school grades pops up, and I get hit with the biggest realization and feeling of deja vu ever. I was reliving the dream that occurred 5 years prior.
Wow.
My memory of that dream became very vivid at that moment. They thought I was a wizard predicting that they were going to say a second before they spoke. This happened 8 months ago, and it was great. That was by Siu-kun. Huh. Deja vu. Deja vu. Wet and Wild is number 74.
Woohoo.
Woo-woo, Don. One time, I walked back from class to my dorm room and sat on my futon while talking to my roommate. She was pretty tired, and while in the middle of talking and ruffling through her backpack, she got quiet, pulled out her agenda book, and it was soaked through with water. Everything else in her backpack was perfectly dry, and we both searched it for any other traces of wetness. She hadn't taken her agenda book out of her backpack in a week, nor had she put any water bottles in her backpack that could have gotten wet. It also hadn't rained for a week and a half either, so we were both mystified as to where this water came from. I just assumed she was too tired to remember properly. A minute later, I stood up from the futon and was met with an odd surprise. The area where one of my legs was pressed up against was completely soaked through with water. No other part of me was wet. There was no liquid near me at all. Although a portion of my pants was soaked, none of the surrounding areas were wet. The area of the futon where my pants were pressed against were perfectly dry too. My roommate and I were never able to come up with any explanations. That was by Cookie761. That's pretty wild. That ghostly water, the spirit of water visited you. Number 75, Fast Food Ninja. Oh, I've been known to be a fast food ninja.
Yeah, all you got to do is work at Wendy's up here. Holy God.
They better be fast food the way they're swamped.
Yeah.
Just had a Wendy's open up in town here, folks, and let me tell you,
It's still swamped.
It's like the premiere of the movie Star Wars. There.
Yeah, exactly.
People are just
they've been
lining up.
They've been open for a week and they haven't had a downtime yet.
Well, let's see what's going on in this one. Fast Food Ninja. I work at a fast food restaurant, and I was washing dishes. All of a sudden, one of my coworkers walks behind me, and I get a weird feeling of deja vu. He reached up above me to grab a few trays off the drying rack, and at that moment, without even looking up, I instinctively put my hands out and caught a stack of trays that were falling. My coworker thought I was some kind of ninja, but it was only after this happened that I remembered a dream I'd had in which that same event occurred. Yeah. That was by the Senate _66. Oh, Shinobi. Number 76, A Short Shelf Life. Wasn't this one 76? No, 75. A Short Shelf Life. This occurred when I was 13 or so. My family was moving into a new home, and we were having trouble with a bookshelf that was a little too tall. A little too big, tall, and wide for the doorway. We eventually had to take it apart and bring it in piece by piece, and the shelf went into my sister's room, and she helped put it together. Here's where it gets creepy. She used the shelf for her books and stuffed animal collection. I left her as she was putting things into the higher shelves, using a kitchen chair to reach up that high, and as soon as I stepped through the door, there was a huge, loud crash. I'm thinking the bookshelf fell on her, or she lost her balance and fell, so I check. She's standing with her back against the wall, and she looks terrified. I peek further in, and there is no shelf. It was completely gone. Her things were heaped up on the floor in that spot. The chair somehow teleported back into the kitchen. My sister and I are the only ones that heard the crash. And worst of all, not one person in our family remembers ever having that bookshelf.
Huh?
Wow, not one person in our family remembers ever having that bookshelf. Wow. So it was a ghostly bookshelf. According Fault 8. I don't know, folks. That's a deport.
That's a big one.
Big deport. Number 77, Smile on Down. My cousin had struggled with depression his whole life, and a few years ago, things came to a head. He was 100% convinced the only cure to his depression was to take his own life. We were close, so it hit pretty hard. After the funeral, my aunt told us that she had seen a helium-filled smiley face balloon, excuse me, kind of float up in front of her and then stop. She said the balloon just kind of sat there for a minute, and then it flew up and away, out of sight on its own. When she told us this, we just brushed it off as a coincidence, but she kept telling us that it was happening to her over the next couple of weeks. We thought she was just recognizing patterns or something like that, but then I was at a music festival a few months later, and the exact same type of balloon, same color and everything, floated through my campsite and did the same thing where it stopped on its own, stared at me, kind of bobbed, and then flew up and away. I'm not really a believer in ghosts and the like, but I'm convinced in some shape or form that was my cousin telling us that he was finally happy. That was by Quarta, Qworta. Quarta. Number 78. Mick more than you bargained for. If I told you what I saw last night, you would not believe me. Like, I can't even wrap my head around it. It was the scariest thing I've ever experienced. I can't even talk about it without sounding crazy. So here it goes. So here it goes. I went to do laundry at around 2 a.m. with my oldest son. After we put the laundry in, we went to a McDonald's drive-thru to get something to drink.
At 2 a.m.?
2 a.m. That's some late laundry right there. The drive-thru was packed with about 5 or 6 cars ahead of us. I noticed none of the cars were moving forward, and it had been like 5 minutes already, so I decided to go around the car in front of me to the next drive-thru lane. This McDonald's has 2 lanes, and as I'm pulling around the car in front of me, I look into their car, only to be greeted by a truly horrifying sight. I kid you not. Both the driver and the passenger looked like corpses. Their heads were tilted all the way back, eyes shut, and they were not moving. I freaked out and tried to pull out of the drive-thru entirely, going around the other cars just to get out of there, but things didn't end there. In the next car I passed, all the passengers looked the same. Heads tilted back, eyes shut. I panicked, thinking maybe they were all shot, so I hit the gas and got the heck out of there. I couldn't fathom what happened, and I could barely speak. I was hyperventilating, so my son called 911 and told them what happened. They sent an officer to check. A few minutes later, the officer called us back and said everything was fine at McDonald's. Mind you, my son saw it too. We both saw the car in front of us where the people looked dead. This was terrifying. It literally looked like one of those rapture movies or at the end of the world type of stuff. But needless to say, I can't wrap my head around what we saw or why, and I'm still scared. I know I'm not crazy because my son saw it too, but it feels crazy to even say it. That was by N. Torres, 2020. Yeah, that's creepy. I don't know. I don't know what goes on in those kind of situations. Is that some kind of... I mean, it's not even like a dimensional shift. It's just some weird...
Well, you kind of really got to ask the question, is there any mental health issues going on here?
Well,
of
course.
When it's, when you're talking about, both people in the car having the same experience, that's just called mass hallucination. Anyhow,
yeah.
But it is creepy.
That is creepy.
I would definitely have to think on that one.
I'd be getting the McHell out of there.
The McHell out of there.
Number 79.
You mean the McHell, right? McHell,
sure.
Getting McHell out of there.
Das vidanya. All Tangled Up is the next one, 79. One of my earliest clear memories I have is being at a fire station with my dad. He was a volunteer firefighter at the time. One of his friends was helping me spray my dad with a small fire hose, and I've always had a distinct recollection of this friend of Dad's standing behind me, holding the hose, and me when I opened the nozzle. When I was in my 20s, my dad was telling me that story, but according to him and my mom, there was nobody there with me. He said a couple of the guys were joking around, asking if I wanted to spray Dad with the hose. Later in the day, I wandered off and was messing with the hose before anyone noticed. My dad describes it as being a miracle that the hose didn't start flailing around and kill me. I used to think of this as a guardian angel encounter, but I distinctly remember the guy who was helping me with that hose egging me on to spray Dad. That seems pretty unangelic behavior. Yeah, I mean, if it was a big hose, my God. That was by Hick MacGyver.
Huh.
Okay, number 80. Only the shadows knows. Back in 2010, my family and I lived in a home out in the woods. There were always weird things happening in that home. One day I was coming up to the stairs from the basement and as I rounded the corner, I saw a shadowy figure running up the stairs from the main floor to the top floor. I only saw it from the corner of my eye and the figure was gone in an instant. Fast forward a couple of years, I moved on to college and my parents decided they were going to sell the home to downsize. They just finished repainting most of the walls and I asked my cousin if she would take a picture so I could see how the new walls looked. Well, she took the picture in the back of our living room, which just so happened to have the staircase to the right. To my horror, in the picture was the same shadow I'd seen years prior. She was the only one in the home when the picture was taken, and it looks like the shadow is looking right at you.
Huh.
Oh, that's all kinds of weird. Huh, where are we at for time?
8:30.
8:30. Okay, I think we should move on to another one of our articles for the night. This one, ladies and gentlemen, is coming from our good friend, Mr. Brent Swanser.
Wow.
Writer for MysteriousUniverse.org, which is an amazing site. Check it out if you want to check out some incredible supernatural paranormal 40 and articles. They have everything. They got a crew of writers over there doing an amazing job. So I can only encourage you to go check it out. And if you do, pay special attention to our good friend, Mr. Brent Swanser's articles, because he, in my opinion, is the most prolific paranormal journalist out there. He just does a great job. Well-researched, comes up with some of the most amazing facts.
Don't know how he finds this stuff.
I don't either. I've asked him. I literally have asked him, you got to tell me, how do you research this stuff? Because I can't tell you how many times he's done articles on some of the same stuff we've covered for the show, but he finds 15 layers more of information than I could ever dig up. I don't know how he does it. But he's incredible, and if you want to keep up with Brent Swanser, you can do so by checking out his group on Facebook, and it's Dark League Paranormal. And it's a great group, great people in there, always having great discussions. So just a bunch of great. That's all I can say. And you can also get involved on Paranormal Portal Radio Facebook page, as well as Paranormal Portal fans, as long as you're, we're talking about Facebook. But this is the Mysterious Warrior Werewolf Tribe of Ireland. And this is something I've never heard about. But he wrote this on September 13th of this year. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Some deep legends seem to appear across cultures. Across geographical boundaries, one legend that has managed to pop up in various mythologies is that of the shapeshifters, and specifically werewolves.
Mm-hmm.
A common feature of horror films and literature, such beasts are present in the lore of various far-flung lands, and in many tales are spoken of as being quite real. One realm where werewolves were very popular is in Ireland. And here, going back through the centuries, we have tales of a mysterious tribe of wolfmen that inspired fear and respect wherever they went. Although wolves went extinct long ago in Ireland, there was a time when they were rather numerous here. And these fierce animals inspired many stories and legends over the centuries, like in many other cultures. The Irish, too, had their legends of werewolves. And among the most famous of those was that of a kingdom that was called Ossory, Ossory. And where there dwelled, a tribe of warriors said to have the ability to transform into hulking wolves. The werewolves of Ossory, even in human form, were said to have a wild appearance with fierce eyes and disheveled long hair, and a taut muscularity that implied animalistic strength. With these warriors often draped in wolf skins, they were said to make their transformations and run amok across the countryside, attacking livestock and settlements, but it is also said that alliances could be formed with them, with the werewolves being prized warriors who many tried to recruit to their cause. These werewolves have been mentioned in Irish lore since all the way back to the 11th century, with one Latin poem about them written in the tome, On the Marvels of Ireland is what it translates to, which reads, "There are some men of Irish race who have this wondrous nature from ancestry and birth. Whensoever they will, they can speedily turn themselves into the form of wolves, and rend flesh with wicked teeth. Often they are seen slaying sheep that moan in pain. But when men raise the hue and cry, or scare them with staves and swords, they take flight like true wolves. But whilst they act thus, they leave their true, i.e. their own bodies. If any man harm them or wound any wound pierce their flesh, the wounds can be plainly seen on their own bodies. Thus the companions can see the raw flesh in their jaws of their true body, and all wonder at the sight."
Huh.
The most well-known story related to the werewolves of Ossory is that of the legendary werewolf warrior called Lainec Fyland, who was said to be the brother of Faradak, the king of Ossory, and the ancestor of the subsequent kings who ruled this land, until being invaded by the Normans in the 12th century. Lainec Fyland was said to be one of the fiercest warriors and most powerful werewolves in all of Ireland. And it was he who was said to have carried on the lineage of the werewolves, siring many children who were also cursed with his affliction of transforming into an animal. Indeed, many tales tell of him being the original werewolf from which all others were created. The medieval Irish work Caradnan, or Fitness of Names, says of Lainec, "He was a man that used to go wolfing, i.e. into wolf shapes, i.e. into shapes of wolves he used to go, and his offspring used to go after him. And they used to kill the herds after the fashion of wolves, so that it is for that he used to be called Lainec Fyland, for he was the first of them who went into a wolf shape." Huh. Another legend of the werewolves of Ossory is connected to St. Patrick, who was trying to stamp out paganism in the land through introducing Christianity, and who thought of them as being cursed by God due to wickedness and sin. An account from On Wonders of Ireland would say of St. Patrick and the werewolves, "It is told that when the holy patricius St. Patrick preached Christianity in that country, there was one clan which opposed him more stubbornly than any other people in the land, and these people strove to do insult in many ways both to God and to the holy man. And when he was preaching the faith to them as to others, and came to confer with them where they held their assemblies, they adopted the plan of howling at him like wolves. St. Patrick responded by praying to God to punish the clan, resulting in them suffering a fitting and severe, though very marvelous punishment, for it is told that all the members of the clan are changed into wolves for a period and roam through the woods feeding upon the same food as wolves. But they are worse than wolves, for in all their wiles they have the wit of men, though they are as eager to devour men as to destroy other creatures. The werewolves were not permanently transformed, as they either took the form of a wolf every 7th winter, or were transformed into a wolf for a 7-year period, following which they never transformed again." Huh. Another well-known account of the werewolves of Ossory was written by the historian Gerald of Wales, who was also appointed as Archdeacon of Brecknock in 1175, and wrote The Werewolves of the Werewolves in his 12th century work Topographia Hibernica, or Topography of Ireland. The tale is about a priest who was traveling through Ossory in the dark woods on his way from Ulster to Meath, along with a young squire. At some point they are sitting around a campfire when they hear a voice from the gloom beyond the trees, which tells them not to be afraid. The priest peers into the darkness, but cannot see from where the voices come, so he asks the stranger to step into the firelight. The stranger refuses, explaining that his bestial appearance would greatly frighten them, as he is in the form of a wolf due to a curse placed upon him. The stranger then tells the priest that his wife has the same curse, and that she is dying and needs the priest's services. The wolf says, I am a member of Clan, Alta, a tribe in this region, and like yourself, Father, we are believers in Jesus Christ and in the power of his salvation. We are natives of Ossory, who, through the curse of the Natalis, saint and abbot, are compelled every 7 years to put off the human form and depart from the dwellings of men. Quitting entirely the human form, we assume that of wolves. At the end of the 7 years, if they chance to survive, 2 others being substituted in their places, they return to their country and their former shape. I am one who lives under a terrible curse. Once I was like you, but I am now forced to wear this terrible form for a period of 7 years, yet in my heart I am still a devout Christian in need of succor and blessing. And there are yet more of us out in yonder forest who are afflicted from the same curse. Although we wear this ghastly form, we are as human in the need of salvation as any other people. The sin which my clan committed has long been forgotten, but the curse is still in force. It is a terrible burden, Father, and one which will never be lifted, for Natalis is long dead. And now she who is my partner in this visitation lies dangerously sick, not inspired by divine charity or to give her the consolations of your priestly office. If you were to see me, you would be greatly afraid. And in truth, it is not absolution for myself which brings me close to your fire, but rather it is to seek absolution for she who cannot come. My wife and I were chosen to take the wolf shape over 6 years ago. We were old, and it is assumed that the clan could do without us. So we were driven out from among our people under the curse. Our time in wolf shape has almost passed, when some hunters passing through these woodlands aimed an arrow which struck my wife, grievously wounding her. Father, I fear that she is not long for this world, and I would implore you to give her the final absolution before she dies. The priest then tells the stranger that he is not afraid, as he is protected by God, and implores him to come forth to show himself. After this, there is movement in the trees, and the hulking shape of a massive dark wolf, nearly the size of a horse, ambles partially into the flickering glow of the firelight. Its fierce eyes pinpoints of glowing red light. The priest can barely contain his terror at such a sight, and has to console the horrified boy by his side. Holding up his crucifix towards the looming wolf, the wolf is unfazed by the crucifix, taking another step towards them, and then once again tells them that he means them no harm. The priest then becomes convinced that the wolf is indeed telling the truth, and is not a product of the devil's work. The priest composes himself and agrees to go to the wolf's forest dwelling to administer last rites to his fallen companion, where the she-wolf reveals her true form, or human form, beneath her wolf visage to prove that they are indeed shapeshifters. After his work is done, the wolf leads them out of the woods and proceeds to give them various prophecies about the future of Ireland and its English invaders, before stalking off back into the murky forest to vanish. Gerald of Wales would add his own reflection to the tale, and the shapeshifters, writing, "We agreed then with Augustine that neither demons nor wicked men can either create or really change their natures, but those whom God has created can, to outward appearance, by his permission become transformed, so that they appear to be what they are not, the senses of men being deceived and laid asleep by a strange illusion, so that things are not seen as they really exist, but are strangely drawn by the power of some phantom or magical incantation to rest their eyes on unreal and fictitious forms." This is pretty wild. The story is intriguing in that it does not paint these creatures as evil or as instruments of the devil, but rather its victims, with souls and redeemable, God-fearing beings that could still retain their humanity in the face of their condition. A rarity in a time when such creatures were the stuff of nightmares, evil, and darkness. The werewolves of Ossory would hold a prominent place in Irish lore for centuries, and are still spoken of much today. But it is unclear just from where such stories sprang, or what truth any of it has ever really had. Most theories today point to these being just misrepresentations and romanticized accounts of the warriors of the era, who would appear looking barbaric and draped in wolf skin, while others declare that this was just an evolution of the common connection made between warriors and wolves. Whatever the case may be, these creatures were much spoken of in their time, and hold a strong place in the folklore and tales of old Ireland. Creatures prowling out past the periphery of our understanding, and inhabiting a realm somewhere between reality, fantasy, and legend. Oof. No, apparently they were speaking. In this case, it was speaking to the priest. It was words. It wasn't just a mind speak, according to the narrative that I understand.
Right. That's what I understood too.
Yeah.
Our friend Titan has a question
Mm-hmm.
about wouldn't it be the same as when I asked you if some Bigfoot could be transformations? You said yes, but where does the mask come from?
Sure.
So where do they build that extra mask come from? It's like the Hulk syndrome, you know.
Yeah.
Bruce Banner's only this big, but you know how the Hulk is. You know, it's got something to do with something that Vic told us, wasn't it? About mass building. If it's 8 foot tall, if it's twice your size, it's got to be twice your mass.
Right.
Mass, not weight. Mass.
Yeah.
So,
Well, maybe they got really big air bladders inside and they just puff them up.
Like
just get
puffer
Popeye
fish.
muscles, you know. It's like,
And
you
a
know, blowing in
dolphin
his
comes
thumb.
by and starts playing ball with it because it gets high on your puffer.
There you go.
Okay.
that's news. I don't know. I didn't know that, but I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah, again, a transformation. It's hard for our Western sensibilities to wrap our heads around. How does a hand turn into a paw, or how does a finger grow claws spontaneously? And yet, maybe it is something else. Maybe it's really not a transformation, but it's a perversion of the senses of everything around it. Is it an energy? I mean, here's the thing. Certainly you can take substances of your own accord that will make you see things that aren't traditionally there. Whether it is in some fashion and you're perceiving something or whatever the mechanics of it is, like DMT, for instance, and suddenly you're seeing colors where there are no colors and shapes where there are no shapes and so on and so forth. I've heard of people on acid watching little animals playing around, and when they came off of their acid trip, it was just a pile of acorns, but they perceived something completely different. So what could cause things like that to happen? Is there a way to aim that to make everybody perceive the same thing? I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of in it, and it's trying to shape the phenomena to my understanding, which is probably not a good thing. To try to understand the mechanics of something that we can't possibly understand,
right?
And put it into terms that to us make sense. Is that truly a representative of the phenomena? Probably not. It's just that we have so much to learn. Can mass be created? Well, we do I believe spirits can cause things to disappear and then reappear. Now that would be a changing of mass to non-existent to existence within our plane of recognition. Maybe it doesn't actually disappear completely, but it disappears to our perception.
Right.
So maybe things can be manifest, exactly in an instant. Maybe that is possible. Maybe it's a matter of perception being altered by some energetic aura. I don't know. It's hard to understand. I don't know.
Well, with that thought though, let's think about my vague interpretations and understanding of quantum physics, which is like very, very pico.
Sure.
But the idea that nothing is manifest unless you're absolutely looking at it. It's not actually there unless you're absolutely 100% looking at it.
Yes,
this microphone is not actually there, even though I can interact with it. The book over here, the light switch over here, the light here, the camera. But the computer I'm interacting with at this moment. Is it my eye that interacts, or is it my physicality that interacts?
Right.
So my point is this. If you think about what's not in our direct eye is manifest in a quantum level, where is all that mass that's not supposedly there? This room is not actually here. It's a construct of my quantum entanglement.
Right.
So let me throw that in your ear.
Well, that's actually a very interesting take on it. And as you were stating that, I just started to think of the mechanics of touch and feel and such. So they're really, everything boiled down to its most elementary form is energy. And when we touch something, when I'm grabbing this bottle,
right,
I'm not actually grabbing the bottle. The electrons in my body are being repelled by the electrons in this bottle, and that's what creates a solid. So the question becomes, can mass be created? So if it is energetic, is there a way to will an energy into becoming a perceivable object, and maybe even a person? And maybe it is. I don't think that that's far from possibility. And when you were talking about the quantum, I was thinking of, like, for instance, you think about Star Trek. Star Trek, they have holodecks on the Next Generation. And those are just rooms that they can create fields that act as places and things. And if we could figure out how to manifest things, then we could have holodecks and things like that. So I don't know. Titan, thank you much, brother. Great show and content as always, Don. It's so good to have you at the Nav's seat. Love and strength to you all. Yeah, you too, brother. And great questions, guys. I think that this is the meat of the whole show, is discussing ideas and stuff. But I do think it's possible.
So being in different states of mind can put you into touch with different dimensions of reality. Yes, absolutely.
I would agree with that, Dream.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The books of Carlos and Strange Things interact with certain organic. Okay, so the books of Carlos Constanita, he said some strange things that he apparently interacted with after taking certain organic substances. Yes, sure. Absolutely.
DMT is often used. People see clockwork elves. They see strange creatures. I guess. And here's the thing: if you look at somebody who's suffering from what we perceive as a mental illness, they see things that are very, very, very real to them, and they interact with that we can't perceive. And doesn't mean that they're not real in some way, but there's something. It just
means we're not in the same dimension as
right.
They are.
Maybe it's a vibration. Maybe it's a frequency. And maybe that's what our reality is based on. Now, many times we postulated through the course of the show that, our eyes perceive a very limited part of the light spectrum. Our ears perceive a very limited part of the auditory spectrum, and so on and so forth. So our senses are tuned for us to live
in our reality,
in our experience. Yep. And so is it possible to retune those senses to perceive more? Well, I think it is. I think people can become psychic. People can become aware of things that everyone else can't see, and that's what we call psychics or mediums, or or whatever.
They're good mushrooms,
or really good mushrooms. Yeah. The psilocybin could be DMT, could be ayahuasca. There's many elements that can cause you, acid could be acid, LSD, that cause you to perceive a different form of reality.
Well, I've always had this interesting thing that I've always, people always talk about, when I was doing this or that, the walls were breathing, man. Yep. Well, what actually is, in my opinion, happening is that your brain is moving faster than the light as it bounces, or whatever it is in your house that causes shadows and things like this. So you're not actually seeing the walls breathe, obviously, but what you're seeing is the interaction between light and the color. And so, because your brain is sped up, you're perceiving more faster than you can. Because I've always been told that when when I was partaking of such substances, that I moved faster than I normally would. That I would move, and people would. Somebody actually asked me one time if I was a vampire because I moved so fast. I was like, no, I'm just really high. But that's because I perceive things faster, in my opinion. This is my experience. I perceive things faster, so I was able to move faster to react to them, like the fast food ninja.
Yep.
So there you have it. I mean, but, does it create, what is it, precognizance?
Precognition, sure.
Precognition? No, I just think your brain is accessing the information faster than you were earlier. Somebody said earlier also that mirrors are a glance into our past by mere microseconds.
Sure.
And that's because of the way the light travels between your eye and the mirror and then back to your eye. That's why you're always seeing in the past. You never see the future. Not really. Because your eye takes time, the electrons, the photons, everything takes time to react from your eye to the object to back to your eye, which also makes this quantum entanglement thing that I mentioned earlier a lot more believable now, doesn't it?
Well, we're just beginning to tap our potential, in my opinion. There's so much that we will learn unless things go all the way to hell. But if life continues and our knowledge continues, then we will, I'm sure, discover incredible things that by today's standards would be nothing short of magical. But I'm hoping I'll be around to see it. Never know. But in any case, that looks like a show.
It is?
So,
I was going to say something real quick. Somebody's reading The Wheel of Time, or at least...
Robert Jordan.
Robert Jordan, actually. But don't forget, the last 3 books are actually written by Brandon Sanderson.
Yeah, from Jordan's notes, though. Apparently.
From his notes, yes.
Yeah.
But in the style of Robert Jordan.
I don't think he got it quite right, but he did pretty darn good.
He did pretty darn good.
I liked it.
They're actually going to be... There's actually going to be a series on HBO Max. Yeah, got to see it.
I would love to
see how he does the Aes Sedai. They always kind of intrigue me.
Yeah, they were wild. Yep. Wild, and if you're not familiar with the Wheel of Time, Robert Jordan was an incredible author. He's passed away, but his body of work is the Wheel of Time series, and they're really, really good books. I found myself trying to speed read just so I could get through what's going on.
But some of those books are like War and Peace.
Oh, they are.
They're
they're 700 to 800 pages, but they were amazing, amazing stories. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to conclude our journey through the Paranormal Portal tonight. I hope that you've enjoyed yourself. I hope you will leave here feeling absolutely thoroughly entertained. I hope you'll leave here and you'll think, God, I can't wait to tell more people about the Paranormal Portal.
Gosh, yes.
And I can't wait till you do. Just saying, just throwing that out there. But feel free to post any of these episodes on social media if you'd like. If you'd like to spread the love, then that would certainly help us a bunch. But thank you all for coming in and being a part of the journey over and over. Many of you are been here so many times, and it's so amazingly wonderful to turn on the lights and see all of you guys coming in. It just really is cool. And I know that sounds cliche, but I don't know how else to say it. It's just about the coolest feeling in the world, knowing that so many people out there want to come and hang out with what we're doing. So anyway, Don, what you got?
Nothing. Just really thankful.
Okay.
Nice to see you guys. Nice to be out of the house. If you don't know, I've been quarantined for the last 10 days, so that's always been fun. But there you go.
Yeah,
So,
well, I didn't
nice
share.
to be
I
out
didn't
and
share
about.
that you were quarantined.
That's okay.
Yeah,
that's all right.
But the rash is getting better. Right?
Oh yeah. I can actually sit down now.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, yeah. So anyhow, but yeah, it's just nice to be out and breathing the air. It's a funny thing. The last week I couldn't eat or drink anything because everything tasted like fish paste.
Fish paste?
Yeah, fish paste. Like, you put in like, Asian food, I mean,
Oh.
Right? Fish paste. Everything tastes like fish paste. My water tastes like fish paste. My coffee tastes like fish paste. The Gardettos I was eating taste like fish. I was like, why does everything taste like fish paste? I'm happy to say, well, today when I walked out of the house for the first time in like 3 days, I actually haven't been out of the house in 3 days. And that's just out my front door. Everything smelled like fish paste.
Jesus.
I have no idea. Don't ask me why.
Don't ask me why. I don't know either. But I know we love you guys, and thank you all for being here, and we're glad Don's moved past fish paste now. And all I can tell you is we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice, take care of each other, help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. We'll be back. I won't be back tomorrow night, though. So I got to be off tomorrow night. But we'll return as soon as we can. So
yeah, I'm thinking I also might not be here Friday. I might be here on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
So I'll keep you posted on that.
Keep me posted. Absolutely. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for tonight.
Carp coffee. Yes, Ruger. That's exactly what it tasted like.
Carp coffee.
Sorry. That's carpy coffee.
Yay. Carpe diem. All right.
All right.
Okay, well, that's it. You guys take care. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you real soon. But no live show tomorrow night, just so you know. After that, hopefully we'll be back
beard.
in action.
Now
Yeah.
I get it. Yes, I'll work on that. It smells fine to me.
Yeah, whatever.
Smells like marinade.
Yeah, your sage marinade.
Sage and black pepper.
All right, that's it. I'm going to shut the show off now.
Okay, bye.
All right, good night.